I can see now why people love Forrest Gump, why it's considered a classic, and it's more evidence about Tom Hanks being a phenomenal actor. Because I watched that movie and I didn't even see Tom Hanks. I really saw Forrest Gump. I think he did a stellar job, right? So this is an old movie, but I'm not from around here, and so I hadn't seen it. And so I watched it recently and couldn't stop crying at the end. Also was PMSing, also was the new moon, or is it the full moon? Anyway, a lot of things were happening. And so I was just really emotional. I was like in a heightened state of emotion. And I love art, and I appreciate when people pour themselves into projects like this. And it was just beautifully done. It was beautifully done. It was so real. I swear they don't make movies like this anymore, right? Because this reminded me of The Notebook, the bit of tragedy, right? There is tragedy in it. There is some sadness that's so reflective of real life. And so the biggest lesson I think I take away from Forrest Gump is how to deal with loss. And a lot of people say grief is evidence of love, right? That you love the person. Because if they died, you wouldn't care. If you didn't care about them, you wouldn't be sad. But you love them, you really, really appreciate this person. And so what you end up feeling is sadness, the grief. And the grief was so, at the end when Forrest is grieving, he is actively grieving, and you can see it, and they really captured it. Just the way they did it was very, very moving. And it reminded me of the losses that I've had in my life. I haven't had a lot of losses, but I am an empath and I feel things so deeply. And I was reflecting on one of my first memories of grief, of collective grief, of watching people grieve, and how disturbing it made me feel witnessing other people's grief. I'm still fairly sensitive to the grief. What was the last thing that happened? What was the last thing I don't remember the last thing that happened. Maybe it was the increase in cases, or the word, the heightened, I feel the things in the world. And I have to have my own boundaries around people's grief and sadness and feelings, because I just be doing too much. I just be doing too much, okay? So the loss that Forrest Gump had from, several people in the film, I think his way of dealing with these things, just so real. Right? And when people are their real selves, you reflect on your real self and think, wow, geez, wow, what would you have done differently? What does it mean that we are all going to die? I've been thinking about death heavily. What does it mean that we are all going to die? So what do you do with your life between now and then, right? Because you can focus on, we're going to die, so might as well not do anything. Or you can think about, I have this set of time to do whatever I want, which is my next point. Often in the film, people would reach a roadblock in what they think they wanted. They wanted something. They didn't get the something that they thought they wanted, thought they were definitely going to get. And then the question is, what do I do now? Well, whatever you want would be Forrest Gump's response. You can do whatever you want. In this world, whatever you want to do, you can do. And you can begin again. Lots of people have multiple careers in their lifetime. They start again. They start from scratch. They do something completely different. They start a business in their 40s or 50s. You can reinvent yourself as many times as you want. You can do whatever you want. And I love that was a theme in the movie, because Forrest Gump had an IQ of 75, I think. Was it? Yeah, it was 75. And was it 75? 70? 75? I think I'm putting too much of my clinical psychology stuff in it. Whatever it was, he was 5 points away from meeting the requirements for the school. And his mother loved him so much that she did things that, I don't know. But anyway, he is below average intelligence. And I often say in my real life, I know what the average IQ is, as a way to explain why people do the things they do, or why there's so much stupidity in the world. But Forrest Gump had someone who validated him, right? His mother told him he could do whatever he wants. You can do whatever you want. You can accomplish whatever you want. And kids need that validation. It's necessary. Otherwise, you grow up into an adult and you want the validation from other adults. It doesn't work. At that point, you have to do it for yourself. But the idea that even with his below average IQ, you can still accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish, I think is a lot of it's like a lot of inspiration for people who feel like, life dealt them cards that were bad, and now they feel like they're stuck wherever they're at and can't do what it is that they want to do. Like I work with people who tell me, if I could just walk, then I could do this thing, then I could, and whenever there's like this thing that's stopping you from doing a thing, you gotta examine, is that really an obstacle? Or is that something you fabricated in your mind? Because there are a lot of people who were born not walking who are happy and successful. I also think about the gentleman who was born with no limbs, who became a motivational speaker. And if you know anything about public speaking, there's a lot of money in public speaking. And how he turned his, what would be considered a disability, into a way to be inspirational to other people. Like, instead of staying at home, filing a disability claim, living on like $700 a month, he decided, I want more for my life. I'm going to do more. I have more. He probably decided that after, being built up by his family, who probably didn't really treat him differently, who probably, challenged him to be able to be independent, to do things for himself, didn't coddle him. So your family of origin helps a lot. But after you become of age, right, your life becomes your responsibility. So you still have full permission to do whatever it is that you want. And then I think Forrest Gump had a way of naturally not taking anything personally, because he wasn't really aware enough to get offended by anything anyone did, unless they were hurting Jenny. Then, but Jenny was so selfish. But Jenny is, I don't know what Jenny's supposed to represent in this film, just as a theme. Bad things happen, right? You create your life. And we can see how Jenny created her reality, how she finally got clean or learned from some of her mistakes and became better. But still, she was doing some shady stuff. And we got to see Forrest Gump forgive. Does he even? I don't think he even takes anything personally or to even have to forgive. So, in the Four Agreements, they say, don't take anything personally. I think Forrest Gump exemplifies that to a T. I don't know, everything was just like watered on his back. Like, you tell me I can't, it's fine, it's whatever. He didn't like being called stupid, but overall, the way he lived his life was one of, well, I'm gonna just do this thing, and I'm gonna just do this thing, and I'm gonna be fully present when I'm doing it. And when I want to stop, I'll just stop. And I'll do something else. Do whatever you want. You know that people have their own opinions no matter what you do in life. So when you focus less on what other people think, you can live your own life more joyously. Do whatever you want. Don't care about what people think. Overall, I would give Forrest Gump a 10 out of 10. I really, really enjoyed the movie. It was so beautiful. And I love beautiful things. I love deep, meaningful things, which is why I just don't watch any and all the movies. First of all, I don't even have the time. But a good movie can really change your perspective. And this just reinforced a lot of the things I already believe. So if you haven't watched Forrest Gump and you like meaningful movies, go ahead and give it a look. And then come back and watch another one of my videos. How about that? Okay, thank you. Thank you for watching. If you don't mind, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. Give this a like, leave a comment. Maybe share it with somebody you think it may help. All right?